You ever see a man throw away everything he's built, his pride, his power, his whole damn future in the span of 20 minutes, and never even see it coming? Yeah, that happened. I watched a CEO kick a black woman out of his five-star hotel, and 20 minutes later, she walked back in as his new boss. But let me back up a sec, because what really happened in that lobby and what came after will probably make you rethink everything you think you know about justice, power, and the cost of assuming you're always right. See, Trevor Hamilton, he was king of the Grand Meridian, the kind of guy who wore hand-tailored suits, had those icy blue eyes that made grown men stammer, hair just the right shade of sandy brown and gray to look both young and in command. He'd built his life around the idea that exclusivity was a virtue. His hotel was Chicago's fortress of glass and marble, a place where you could breathe the same air as senators and tech moguls if you had $5 grand a night to burn. Every detail, every gesture, everything was about keeping things perfect and keeping people like him in charge. That night, Trevor was watching his kingdom from his corner office, bourbon in hand, ignoring his ex-wife's texts about his daughter's piano recital, because, well, the Grand Meridian always came first. There were rumors somebody from corporate might be coming for an inspection, maybe checking on how he ran things. But Trevor? He didn't worry. He had the highest guest satisfaction scores in the chain, and if there were whispers about cultural assessments or accountability, he just called it corporate nonsense. Down in the rain, just outside the golden glow of the Grand Meridian's entrance, DR, Nicole Carter was sitting in her BMW, hands clamped so tight on the steering wheel you'd think she was bracing for a crash. She'd earned every damn thing in her life. Spelman undergrad, Northwestern MBA, papers in Forbes and hospitality, executive, climbed every ladder they put in front of her, got told a dozen times she didn't belong, and kept climbing anyway. That morning, the call had come. You're the new regional director for International Grandeur Holdings. You're running 14 hotels, starting with the flagship in Chicago. Tonight, you assess the Grand Meridian. Her best friend Denise been through everything with her, the only other black woman in their MBA class, texted, hyping her up, and Nicole just laughed, checked her lipstick, and stepped out into the cold October night. You could almost smell the anticipation of doormen in blue uniforms, the Italian marble columns, the crystal chandeliers so big they looked like something out of Versailles. Nicole walked up to the concierge, business card in hand, ready to check in under her own name, feeling the eyes in the lobby follow her like they always did in these places. She was used to it, you know what I mean? That sense that people are waiting for you to make a mistake. But when the concierge typed in her name and that tight, professional smile started to slip, Nicole's stomach dropped. No reservation. Not under her name, not under International Grandeur Holdings. The manager comes out, older guy, Gerald, all apologies and concern, but still, nothing. Nicole showed her confirmation email, but Gerald said the number was the wrong format. Fraud, maybe scam. Nicole's face burned. She'd made the booking herself through the corporate portal. There was no mistake. And that's when Trevor Hamilton swept in, suit sharp as a blade, voice deep and smooth as bourbon, and took over. The way he looked at Nicole, you could feel it, the calculation, the cold courtesy that says, I know you don't belong here. He didn't check the booking, didn't call anyone. He just dismissed her, told her she'd been fooled, that he'd have the staff help her find something more appropriate elsewhere. You hear the word appropriate, you know exactly what he means. Nicole did too. He called security. Nicole could feel every set of eyes on her, every conversation in the lobby hushed, every assumption about who she was and why she was there floating in the air. She could have made a scene, but she didn't. She picked up her bag, straightened her blazer, and told Trevor, remember this moment, because in about 20 minutes, you're going to wish you had. And she walked out, head high, rain on her face. The Grand Meridian kept humming along. Trevor basked in a congratulatory email from a guest who'd seen the whole thing. Harrison Blackwell, Chicago Business Council, big money. Kelly, Trevor's assistant, brought up the incident, worried about bad press, social media, but Trevor laughed it off. Who believe her over him? Who could touch his record? Meanwhile, Nicole was in her car, shaking, humiliated, texting Dinisecond bring herself to explain what just happened. That after all these years, all those degrees, it took 15 minutes to be accused of fraud and thrown out like she was nothing. Then her work phone buzzed Patricia Wells, her boss's boss, calling from corporate. Nicole told her the truth. Within minutes, Patricia had legal and security looped in pooling booking logs, prepping for a crisis. "Stay put," Patricia said. "We're handling this." The next morning, Nicole walked into a boardroom on the 42nd floor with Patricia, legal, corporate security, and Aisha Patel, the new diversity and inclusion director. Turns out, Nicole wasn't the first. 12 formal complaints in 18 months, always the same pattern, always explained away by local management. Most guests didn't even bother to complain. Aisha had the numbers, Jennifer from security had the footage, and legal was prepping a federal case. The pattern was there, plain as day. Exclusion by 1,000 cuts. Profit over principle, like always. But what cracked it open was Gerald, the front desk manager. He'd kept his own records. 47 documented incidents, names, dates, details. He'd sent them to department heads, building a silent file in hope that someone would listen one day. That day was now. It was a system, not a mistake. Corporate's decision was swift. Trevor Hamilton was fired for cause. No severance, no recommendations, just a security escort out of the marble palace he'd ruled for 4 years. Nicole was put in charge, interim leader of the Grand Meridian, and within weeks, her bias training program was being implemented company-wide. Guest satisfaction scores rebounded, and lost revenue started coming back. Harrison Blackwell, the same guest who'd praised Trevor, lost a city contract after the story hit the news. 6 months later, the lobby felt different. Gerald was now general manager. The staff was more diverse than ever, and Nicole walked through the marble corridors as regional director, her vision for hospitality taking root in every corner of the hotel. Trevor, meanwhile, had traded suits for khakis, working for a community housing nonprofit, donating his entire severance to scholarships for hospitality students from underrepresented backgrounds. He'd become a cautionary tale, but also a voice for change, talking at conferences about unconscious bias, about how intent doesn't erase impact. And one day, Nicole met him again, no fancy boardroom, no power games. Just two people sitting across from each other, reckoning with what had happened. Trevor was humble, honest, admitted he'd finally understood, finally stopped running. Nicole offered him a role, come back as a speaker for the new bias training program, sharing a story so others might not make the same mistake. He accepted, tears in his eyes, knowing it was the hardest work he'd ever do. So, you ask what real change looks like. It looks like justice and mercy fighting for the same space. It looks like a black woman being thrown out of a hotel and returning to run it. Like a disgracio learning more in 6 months of humility than in 4 years of power. Like a whole industry paying attention because one person decided enough was enough. And it looks like all of us guests, staff, strangers remembering that hospitality isn't about perfection, but about making everyone feel like they belong. What would you have done if you were Nicole? Have you ever been forced to choose between punishment and redemption, between calling someone out and helping them become better? Drop your thoughts below. Let's get real about justice, mercy, and what it takes to make lasting change, because you never know whose story might help change the world.